The unseen power of Earth. In the quiet void of space, the Galactic Council prided itself on its supremacy. Their fleets had subdued countless worlds, and now their gaze turned toward a seemingly insignificant planet, Earth. The Council assumed it would be an easy conquest, but they had yet to witness the unyielding spirit of humanity. In a smoke-filled bar on a remote space station, Nan, a grizzled veteran of the Council's fleet, recounted tales of Earth's unexpected resistance. Sitting beside him was Zach, a young recruit whose antennae twitched with curiosity. The bar's holodisplays flickered, showing fierce human soldiers battling Council forces. Zach was wide-eyed, unable to reconcile the primitive image he had of humans with the footage before him. "They're all true, kid," Nan growled, nursing his glowing blue drink. "I fought them myself. Humans are more than what they seem. We underestimated them, and that was our first mistake." Zach leaned in, his curiosity piqued. How did a primitive species from a backwater world take on the Council? Nan sighed, his battle-scarred snout twitching as he dragged a clawed hand across his face. "Because we were arrogant. We thought we could just march in and add Earth to our collection. But we didn't realize their most powerful weapon wasn't their guns or ships. It was their spirit." Zach's mandibles quivered as he absorbed Nan's words. Humanity's refusal to bow had cost the Council dearly. As images of human marines storming alien dreadnoughts flashed on the screens, Zach began to understand that Earth wasn't just another conquest. It was a warning. They refused the Council outright. "Are they insane?" Zach asked, incredulous. Nan chuckled darkly. "Oh, they did. And they paid for it with blood. But they didn't just resist. They fought back. The Council cut them off, thinking it would bring them to their knees. But humans are crafty. They built their own economy, developed new technology, and in 10 short years, they were toe-to-toe with the biggest players in the galaxy." Zach was stunned. A primitive world, isolated and alone, had somehow matched the power of the entire Council. What did the Council do? Nan's eyes glinted with a mixture of respect and bitterness. They tried to choke Earth with a blockade, but the humans were ready. They unleashed a weapon nobody had even dreamed of. An EMP cannon that turned our ships into floating scrap. Zach's jaw dropped. A weapon that could cripple an entire fleet with a single shot. Nan nodded solemnly. And that was just the beginning. The humans struck our command vessels, leaving the fleet in chaos. The Council had no choice but to retreat, and that's when Earth delivered its ultimatum. Lift the sanctions and acknowledge human sovereignty, or face the consequences. Zach could hardly believe what he was hearing. The Council, the most powerful force in the galaxy, had been outmaneuvered by a single species. And the Council actually listened. Nan finished his drink and slammed the glass down, his eyes distant with the memories. They did. Earth's victory sent tremors across the galaxy, making other races question the Council's power. Rebellion started to crop up, all inspired by humanity's defiance. Zach stared at the veteran in awe. Humanity had done the impossible, not just surviving, but thriving in the face of overwhelming odds. And as he looked around the bar, seeing the mix of fear and admiration in the eyes of the other patrons, he realized that the galaxy would never be the same again. The rise of Earth. The aftermath of Earth's triumph rippled through the galaxy, shaking the foundations of the Galactic Council. In response to the humans' unyielding resistance, the Council was forced to reevaluate its position. In a move that stunned the entire galaxy, they extended an invitation for Earth to join the Council as an equal. Zach, still reeling from the revelations shared by Nan, couldn't believe it. The Council invited humans to join them, as equals. Nan nodded, his expression serious. Yep, it was a shock to everyone, but the humans had earned that seat at the table. The Council realized that humans weren't just another species, they were a force to be reckoned with. The Council's invitation to Earth was more than just a diplomatic gesture. It was a recognition of humanity's strength, intelligence, and indomitable spirit. But not everyone was pleased with this development. Many of the older, more established races saw the humans as upstarts, unworthy of such a prestigious position. Nan leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with mischief. But the humans had an ace up their sleeve. Remember that grand tour they gave the council delegates? Turns out, the humans recorded everything, every conversation, every reaction. And they used that footage to sway the other races. Zach's eyes widened as he began to grasp the cunning of the humans. They used the recordings to win over the other races. Nan grinned, showing a mouthful of sharp teeth. Exactly. They released the footage to the galactic media, showing the delegates praising Earth and its people. It was a masterstroke. The other races started to question their assumptions about the humans. Some even began to see Earth as a potential ally against the Council's tyranny. The tide was turning in humanity's favor. The recordings not only bolstered Earth's reputation, but also sowed seeds of doubt within the Council itself. The once unassailable unity of the Council was beginning to fracture, and Earth was at the center of it all. Zach was impressed by the humans' cunning. So what happened next? Did the Council follow through on their invitation? Nan nodded, his expression turning serious once again. They did. The humans sent their own delegation to the Council's headquarters, ready to take their place as equals. I was there, you know. I saw it with my own eyes. The memory of that momentous occasion was etched deeply in Nan's mind. He could still see the human delegation striding into the council chamber, their presence commanding the attention of everyone in the room. They were confident, determined, and unyielding. Zach leaned forward, hanging on Nan's every word. And then, how did the council react? Nan's mouth twisted into a wry smile. Not well. At first, some of the other races tried to put the humans in their place, talking down to them like they were children. But the humans didn't back down. They stood their ground and argued their case with a passion and eloquence that left everyone stunned. Humanity's determination and resolve were undeniable. Despite the initial resistance, the Council had no choice but to acknowledge Earth's place among them. And with that, a new chapter in galactic history began. One where humanity was no longer a subject to be conquered, but a partner to be reckoned with. The battle for influence. As Earth settled into its new role within the Galactic Council, the balance of power began to shift. The humans, once underestimated and disregarded, now held a position of influence that many of the older races could only envy. But this newfound power was not without its challenges. Nan, now a seasoned observer of galactic politics, saw the growing tension within the council. The humans may have won their seat, but they were far from secure. There were plenty of races that resented their rapid rise to power. Zach, eager to learn more, leaned in. How did the humans deal with that? Did they just fight their way through? Nan shook his head. No, they were smarter than that. They knew that brute force wouldn't keep them at the table, so they played the political game, forging alliances and leveraging their technological advancements to win support. The humans' mastery of diplomacy surprised many within the council. They understood that in this new arena, strength alone wasn't enough. They needed allies. And so, they began to build bridges with the discontented races, offering them a vision of a more just and equitable galaxy. Nan continued, his tone one of admiration. The humans didn't just fight for themselves. They fought for everyone who had been oppressed by the Council's heavy hand. They advocated for new laws that ensured fair treatment for all species, great and small. Zach was impressed. They weren't just thinking about their own survival. They were trying to change the entire system. Nan nodded. Exactly. The humans knew that if they wanted to secure their place in the galaxy, they had to reshape the Council itself. And that's exactly what they did. Through careful negotiation and strategic alliances, Earth slowly but surely began to shift the power dynamics within the Council. The once monolithic organization was now a place of debate and negotiation, with Earth often at the center of it all. Zach could hardly believe how much had changed in such a short time. So the humans really did it. They changed the council. Nan smiled, a mixture of pride and disbelief in his expression. They did. And in doing so, they ensured that no one would ever underestimate them again. The new era, with Earth's influence firmly established within the Galactic Council, a new era began to dawn. The humans, once the underdogs of the galaxy, were now leading the charge for change. Their vision of a fair and just galaxy began to take shape, inspiring races across the stars. Nan, reflecting on the changes, couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. You know, when I first fought against the humans, I never would have believed they could do something like this. But now, looking at the galaxy, I can see that they've made it a better place. Zack, listening intently, could feel the weight of history in Nan's words. So what happens now? Is it all just peace and prosperity? Nan chuckled, shaking his head. No, kid. There's still plenty of challenges ahead. Not everyone's happy with the changes, and there are still those who would love to see Earth knocked back down. The veteran's words were a reminder that the struggle was far from over. Earth may have secured its place in the galaxy, but there were still enemies lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. Zack, now more determined than ever, looked Nan in the eye. So what do we do? Nan's eyes gleamed with the wisdom of years of experience. We keep fighting, kid. We keep pushing for what's right. The humans taught us that if you want to make a difference, you have to be willing to stand up and fight for it. As the two sat in the bar, surrounded by the hum of galactic activity, Zack realized that the story of Earth was far from over. It was a story of resilience, of determination, and of hope. And as long as there were those willing to fight for a better future, the legacy of Earth would live on. The legacy of humanity. Years passed, and the galaxy continued to evolve under the influence of Earth. The humans, once considered insignificant, had left an indelible mark on the cosmos. Their legacy was one of courage, innovation, and an unyielding commitment to justice. Nan, now retired and living on a peaceful colony world, often found himself reflecting on the impact humans had made. You know, kid, he would say to the younger generation, the humans didn't just change the council, they changed the entire galaxy. Zack, now a seasoned diplomat in his own right, would often visit Nan to seek his counsel. You were right, Nan. The humans weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for all of us. Nan would nod, a proud smile on his face. They understood something that most of us didn't, that the galaxy is stronger when we all stand together. And because of them, we're all better off. The human influence had spread far beyond the council chamber. Their ideals of equality, justice, and cooperation had inspired countless races to rise up and demand a better future. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, but it was also a place where hope could thrive. Zack, looking out at the stars, couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism. Do you think the humans knew they would have this kind of impact? Nan shrugged, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of age. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But it doesn't matter. What matters is that they never gave up. They fought for what they believed in, and in doing so, they changed the course of history. As the two sat in silence, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, Zack realized that the story of Earth was a story that would be told for generations to come. It was a story of triumph against the odds, of standing up for what's right, and of never backing down in the face of adversity. The future of the galaxy. The galaxy had entered a new era, one shaped by the influence of Earth and the ideals it had championed. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of oppression and tyranny, was now a place of cooperation and mutual respect. The humans, once underestimated and scorned, had become the architects of a brighter future. Nan, now living out his days in peace, often found himself thinking about the future. You know, kid, he would say to Zack, the galaxy is still full of dangers, but it's also full of possibilities. Zack, now a leader in the council, understood the truth in Nan's words. The galaxy was still a place of uncertainty, but it was also a place where hope could flourish. We've come a long way, Nan, but there's still so much more to do. Nan would nod, a knowing smile on his face. That's the thing about the future, kid. It's always just out of reach. But as long as we keep striving for it, there's nothing we can't achieve. The legacy of Earth had given the galaxy a new sense of purpose. Races that had once been at odds were now working together to build a better future. The ideals of justice, equality, and cooperation that the humans had fought for were now the guiding principles of the galaxy. Zach, looking out at the stars, felt a sense of pride in what had been accomplished. But he also knew that the work was far from over. We have to keep fighting, Nan. We have to keep pushing for a better future. Nan would smile, his eyes full of wisdom and experience. And we will, kid. As long as there are those willing to stand up and fight for what's right, the galaxy will be in good hands. As the two sat in silence, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, Zach realized that the future of the galaxy was bright, and it was all thanks to the unyielding spirit of humanity. The enduring legacy. As the years passed, the story of Earth and its impact on the galaxy became a legend. The humans, once underestimated and scorned, had become the heroes of a new era. Their legacy was one of courage, determination, and an unyielding commitment to justice. Nan, now a revered elder, would often share the story of Earth with the younger generation. "Remember, kids," he would say, "the humans didn't just change the galaxy. They showed us what it means to be truly alive." Zach, now a respected leader in the council, would often visit Nan to seek his counsel. "You were right, Nan. The humans weren't just fighting for themselves. They were fighting for all of us." Nan would nod, a proud smile on his face. They understood something that most of us didn't, that the galaxy is stronger when we all stand together. And because of them, we're all better off. The human influence had spread far beyond the council chamber. Their ideals of equality, justice, and cooperation had inspired countless races to rise up and demand a better future. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, but it was also a place where hope could thrive. Zach, looking out at the stars, couldn't help but feel a sense of optimism. "Do you think the humans knew they would have this kind of impact?" Nan shrugged, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of age. "Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that they never gave up. They fought for what they believed in, and in doing so, they changed the course of history." As the two sat in silence, watching the stars twinkle in the night sky, Zach realized that the story of Earth was a story that would be told for generations to come. It was a story of triumph against the odds, of standing up for what's right, and of never backing down in the face of adversity. And as long as that story was told, the legacy of humanity would endure. A new dawn. As time marched on, the influence of Earth continued to ripple across the galaxy. New alliances were formed, and old enmities faded away, replaced by a common understanding that the galaxy's strength lay in its unity. The Galactic Council, once a symbol of tyranny, had transformed into a beacon of hope, thanks in large part to the enduring legacy of humanity. Zach, now a senior member of the council, was known throughout the galaxy as a champion of peace and cooperation. His tireless efforts to foster dialogue and mutual respect among the diverse species had earned him widespread admiration. Yet, despite his success, Zach remained humble, always crediting the humans who had inspired him. Nan, though advanced in age, still played an important role as a mentor and advisor. His wisdom and experience were invaluable, and he often found himself reflecting on the journey they had all taken. "You know, Zach," he would say with a thoughtful expression, "it's easy to get caught up in the victories, but we must never forget that the fight for a better future is never truly over." Zach nodded, fully aware of the challenges that still lay ahead. "You're right, Nan. There are still those who oppose change, who fear what the future might bring. But as long as we keep moving forward, I believe we can overcome any obstacle." Nan's eyes twinkled with pride. "That's the spirit, kid. The humans taught us that no matter how dark things might seem, there's always a way forward. We just have to be brave enough to take it." The two often spent time discussing the state of the galaxy, sharing stories of triumph and tales of caution. Nan's presence was a constant reminder that the journey was just as important as the destination, and that the lessons of the past were the key to navigating the future. One day, as Zach prepared to address the council on a particularly contentious issue, he sought out Nan for guidance. "I'm not sure how this is going to go," Zach admitted, a hint of uncertainty in his voice. "There's a lot at stake, and not everyone is on board with the direction we're heading." Nan smiled reassuringly. "You've got this, Zach. Just remember what the humans stood for: justice, equality, and the belief that we're all stronger together. If you stay true to those principles, you'll find a way to bring the council together." Zach took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. But with Nan's words echoing in his mind, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. "Thank you, Nan. I won't let you down." When Zach addressed the council, he spoke with passion and conviction, reminding everyone of the shared values that had brought them together. He invoked the legacy of Earth, not as a distant memory, but as a living example of what could be achieved when different species work together toward a common goal. His words resonated deeply, and one by one, the members of the council began to nod in agreement. The debate that had once seemed insurmountable slowly gave way to a new consensus, forged in the spirit of cooperation that Zach had championed. As he stepped down from the podium, Zach felt a surge of pride. The path ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, he felt confident that they were on the right track. Back in his quarters, Zach found Nan waiting for him, a proud smile on the old veteran's face. "I knew you could do it, kid. You've got the heart of a fighter, just like those humans." Zach smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the mentorship and friendship that had guided him throughout his journey. "I couldn't have done it without you, Nan. You've been my rock through all of this." Nan chuckled, waving off the praise. "You've always had what it takes, Zach. I just helped you see it." As they sat together, watching the stars outside the window, Zach realized that the legacy of Earth was not just about the humans themselves, but about the impact they had on others, the way they inspired those around them to be better, to reach higher, and to never give up on their dreams. The story of Earth had become a part of galactic history, but it was also a living, breathing testament to the power of resilience and hope. And as long as that story continued to inspire future generations, the legacy of humanity would endure. The torch is passed. Years turned into decades, and the galaxy continued to evolve. The old guard began to fade away, making room for a new generation of leaders who had grown up in the shadow of Earth's influence. Zach, now an elder statesman, found himself in a position much like Nan had once been, a mentor to the young and a keeper of the flame. Nan, his hair now fully white, had finally decided to retire from public life. He spent his days in peaceful solitude, enjoying the simple pleasures of life and reminiscing about the past. But even in retirement, his mind was sharp, and his counsel was sought after by those who valued his wisdom. One day, as Zach visited Nan for what had become a regular tradition, he noticed that the old veteran seemed quieter than usual. "Everything all right, Nan?" Zach asked, concern etched on his face. Nan looked at him with a gentle smile, his eyes filled with the weight of years. "I'm just thinking, Zach. Thinking about how far we've come, and how much further there is to go." Zach nodded, understanding the sentiment. "The galaxy is in a better place because of you, Nan. Because of the humans who showed us the way." Nan sighed, a mix of pride and melancholy in his voice. "It's been a long journey, kid. But I think it's time for me to step back and let you take the lead." Zach felt a pang of sadness at the thought of losing his mentor's active presence, but he also knew that this moment was inevitable. "You've earned your rest, Nan, but know that your legacy, Our legacy will live on. We'll keep fighting for the future you helped create." Nan smiled, a tear glistening in his eye. "I know you will, Zack. You've made me proud, kid. And I know you'll continue to do great things." As they sat together, watching the sunset over the colony world that Nan had come to call home, Zack felt a profound sense of gratitude. The torch was being passed, but the flame would continue to burn brightly. Nan's influence had shaped the galaxy in ways that few could truly comprehend, and his wisdom had been a guiding light for those who had come after him. But now, it was up to the new generation to carry that legacy forward, to continue the work that had begun so long ago. As the years passed, Zack found himself telling the story of Nan and the humans to a new generation of leaders, much like Nan had once done for him. He spoke of courage, of resilience, and of the unbreakable spirit that had defined humanity's impact on the galaxy. And as those young leaders listened, their eyes wide with wonder and inspiration, Zack knew that the legacy of Earth was in good hands. The future was uncertain, but as long as the story of humanity continued to inspire, there was nothing they couldn't achieve. A galaxy united. Centuries after humanity had first made its mark on the galaxy, the ideals they had championed had become the foundation upon which a new era was built. The Galactic Council, once a place of division and conflict, was now a shining example of unity and cooperation. Races that had once been enemies were now allies, working together to build a future that was better for all. The legacy of Earth had transcended the humans themselves, becoming a symbol of hope and progress for the entire galaxy. Zack, now an elder statesman whose name was spoken with reverence, had become a symbol of the new era. His efforts to foster unity and cooperation had brought about unprecedented peace and prosperity, and his leadership was admired across the stars. But even in this new age of peace, Zack knew that the fight was never truly over. There were always challenges to overcome, always new obstacles to face. But he also knew that as long as they remained true to the ideals that had brought them this far, they could overcome anything. One day, as Zack stood before the council, he spoke of the future with the same passion and conviction that had defined his career. "We have come far," he said, his voice resonating through the chamber. "But there is still much work to be done. We must continue to strive for a better future, for ourselves, and for those who will come after us." The members of the council, representing countless species from across the galaxy, nodded in agreement. They knew that the road ahead would not be easy, but they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way. As Zack looked out at the assembled leaders, he felt a deep sense of pride. The galaxy was united in a way that had once seemed impossible, and it was all thanks to the unyielding spirit of humanity. But more than that, Zack felt a sense of responsibility. The legacy of Earth was not just a story of the past, it was a guiding light for the future. And as long as they continued to carry that legacy forward, the galaxy would remain a place of hope and possibility. As the session ended and Zack stepped down from the podium, he was approached by a young leader, full of energy and ambition. "I've heard so much about you, sir," the young leader said, awe in their voice. "I want to follow in your footsteps, to help build the future you've worked so hard to create." Zack smiled, seeing in the young leader the same fire that had driven him all those years ago. "Then you're already on the right path. Remember, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And as long as you stay true to your ideals, you'll do great things." The young leader nodded, inspired by Zack's words. And as they walked away, Zack felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The torch had been passed once again, and the future was in good hands. As he looked out at the stars, Zack couldn't help but feel a profound sense of peace. The galaxy was united, and the legacy of Earth was secure. And as long as that legacy continued to inspire, the future would always be bright. In the end, it wasn't just about the humans or the council or even the galaxy itself. It was about the enduring power of hope, the unbreakable strength of unity, and the unyielding belief that, together, they could build a better tomorrow. And as long as that spirit lived on, The legacy of Earth would never fade, or the lessons of the past. Let us honor the sacrifices that were made, and let us carry forward the torch that was passed to us. For as long as we hold on to the spirit of unity and hope, there is nothing we cannot achieve. The crowd erupted in applause, their admiration for Zach and the ideals he represented evident in their response. Unity Day was more than just a celebration. It was a reaffirmation of their commitment to building a better future. After the speech, Zach was approached by a group of young leaders, eager to learn from the elder who had become a symbol of wisdom and guidance. They asked him about the early days, about the struggles and triumphs that had defined his journey. Zach smiled, his heart warmed by their enthusiasm. It wasn't always easy, he said, recalling the many challenges they had faced. But we always believed that we could make a difference, that we could build a future where all could thrive. And that belief carried us through even the darkest times. The young leaders listened intently, their admiration for Zach growing with each word. He had become a bridge between the past and the future, a living reminder of the power of hope and determination. As the day drew to a close, Zach found himself alone, looking out at the stars that had guided him for so many years. He thought of Nan, of the humans who had inspired him, and of the countless others who had played a role in shaping the galaxy. Their legacy was secure, and the future was bright. But more than that, Zach knew that the story of Earth would continue to inspire generations to come. It was a story of resilience, of courage, and of the unbreakable spirit that had defined humanity's impact on the galaxy. And as long as that story was told, the legacy of Earth would live on, not just as a memory, but as a guiding light for all who sought to build a better tomorrow. The last lesson. As Zach reached the twilight of his life, he found himself spending more time reflecting on the past. The galaxy had changed so much since the days of his youth, but the ideals that had guided him remained steadfast. The torch had been passed to a new generation, and Zach knew that his time was drawing to a close. One day, as he sat in his study surrounded by the artifacts of his long and storied life, a young leader, one of his most promising prodigies, came to visit him. The young leader, named Lyra, had quickly risen through the ranks of the Galactic Council and was known for her wisdom and compassion, qualities that Zach had seen in her from the very beginning. "Zach," Lyra said softly as she entered the room, her eyes filled with concern. "I wanted to check on you. You've been on my mind lately." Zach smiled, touched by her concern. "I'm glad you came, Lyra. There's something I've been meaning to tell you." Lyra took a seat beside him, her attention fully focused on the elder statesman she had come to admire so deeply. "I'm listening." Zach took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "You've done well, Lyra. You've carried forward the legacy of unity and hope that we've all worked so hard to build. But as you continue your journey, there's one final lesson I want to share with you." Lyra leaned in, eager to absorb the wisdom Zach had to offer. "What is it?" Zach's eyes softened as he spoke, his voice filled with the weight of experience. "Never forget the power of kindness, Lyra. In all the years I've served the Council, I've learned that it's not just about the big decisions, the grand speeches, or the victories in battle. It's about the small moments, the acts of kindness that ripple out and touch the lives of others." Lyra nodded, taking in his words. "I understand, Zach. Kindness is what binds us together, what makes us stronger." Zach smiled, seeing in Lyra the future he had worked so hard to build. "Exactly. Kindness is the foundation of everything we've achieved. It's what allows us to see the best in each other, to forgive, to heal, and to grow. Never underestimate its power, and never let it fade from your heart." Lyra reached out and took Zach's hand, a gesture of gratitude and respect. "Thank you, Zach. I'll carry this lesson with me, always." Zach squeezed her hand, a sense of peace washing over him. "I know you will, Lyra, and I have no doubt that you'll continue to make this galaxy a better place." As Lyra departed, leaving Zach to his thoughts, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The future was in good hands, and the legacy of Earth, of humanity, would continue to inspire for generations to come. That night, as Zack looked out at the stars one last time, he felt a profound sense of closure. The journey that had begun with the humans so many centuries ago had come full circle, and their story was now a permanent part of galactic history. Zack closed his eyes, a gentle smile on his face, knowing that his work was done. The galaxy was united, and the torch had been passed. The legacy of Earth would live on, not just in the annals of history, but in the hearts and minds of all who believed in the power of unity, hope, and kindness. And as the stars twinkled in the night sky, the story of humanity continued to shine brightly, a beacon of light guiding the galaxy toward a future filled with possibility and promise. One day, as Lyra stood before a new group of young leaders, she shared with them the story of Earth and the lessons she had learned from Zack. She spoke of the importance of kindness, of the power of unity, and of the need to always look to the stars with hope and determination. "The galaxy is vast," she told them, her eyes shining with conviction. "But no matter how far we travel, we must never forget where we came from. The legacy of Earth is a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always light, and that light is within each of us, waiting to be shared." The young leaders listened intently, their hearts filled with the same sense of purpose that had guided Zack, Lyra, and countless others before them. They knew that the future was in their hands, and that they had the power to shape it in ways that would honor the legacy of Earth and all who had come before them. As the sun set on another day in the galaxy, a new dawn was already beginning. The story of Earth was far from over. It was just the beginning of a new chapter, one that would be written by those who carried its legacy forward into the stars. And so, the spirit of humanity, the values of unity, kindness, and hope continued to shine brightly, guiding the galaxy toward a future filled with endless possibilities and boundless promise.